and will go out into the world and each pursue based upon what you believe your talents are, what your skills are, maybe your gifts are, but you're seeking the same thing. Everybody wants to fulfill the highest, truest expression of yourself as a human being. That's what you're looking for.
Welcome to DG Media. Today we are interviewing Sara Paris, real estate agent. Sara, welcome.
Thank you. And I just wanted to take this opportunity to thank DG Media for this interview.
Great. So let's get started with some questions we have for you today. Who are you and what do you do?
Well, my name is Sara, and I am a licensed realtor with Property Exchange Realty Point. I am licensed to help buy, sell, or lease any residential or commercial property in Ontario.
Okay, this is great because we know we've got some questions from our viewers in the past about real estate. Tell us a little bit about selling. If you're the seller, what are some of the things you can do to prepare your home?
Well, the things I like to tell my clients are to depersonalize and to declutter. So the first step is declutter. Make sure that all surfaces are clear, the home is clean and free of all debris. The next is to depersonalize. I would say removing any religious items or personal photographs and replacing them with staging items. That will just ensure that the home buyer is able to visualize themselves living in the home.
Now, I know you believe as well in inspections. Do you think sellers should also have an inspection?
Yeah, I think it's a great idea for a seller to do a home inspection prior to listing their property on the market. That way, during the listing process, there aren't any surprises that come up, and you're able to offer that inspection report to the buyer so they feel confident in putting in an offer on the property.
And sellers tend to want to get the best value for their property. Some of them will do renovations. What do you recommend in terms of the renovations that should be done?
Mm-hmm. Well, I typically recommend to do the kitchen and the bathroom. These are two high-use, high-traffic areas, and also the first places that home buyers will scrutinize when looking at a property.
Okay, well, those are the questions I have for you on the selling, but I want to talk a little bit about buyers. Now, as a buyer, what do I need to know, especially if I'm a first-time buyer?
Mm-hmm. So what I like to tell all buyers, the first step in buying a home is to talk to your mortgage agent. Okay, and then you'll need to get a pre-approval or a commitment letter from a lender. That way you know how much money you can spend and what you can afford, and then you and I can go shopping. The worst thing you can do is go and view a property before you know how much you can afford, because then you may very well fall in love with that property, but it's outside of your budget. So it's best to always speak with the mortgage professional first.
Well, I think some of us know what that's like. You see a beautiful property and then you like, nope. Right, so thank you for that piece of information, those tips. Sara, there are pre-constructions happening, and there are buyers who want to know, is this a good investment? What do you think?
I think that pre-construction is definitely a great investment for buyers. It allows you time to pay your deposit. So typically you're paying 15 to 20% down over 2 or 3 years. And that's a bonus for a lot of buyers because sometimes people don't have that money right away. Another great reason for pre-construction is because as they're building it, time is passing and that property is building equity for you. And you haven't even taken over the property yet. So I think pre-construction is definitely a great investment, whether you are going to live there in the end, sell it later, or rent it out.
That's interesting. Thank you for that. I want to move into renters. Don't have much conversation about renters when we talk to real estate agents on the street, but I know that you can hire a real estate agent if you're a renter. So can you tell me a little bit about that aspect of your work, and why do you think someone should hire a real estate agent?
Well, one thing that is important to keep in mind is that when you are looking for an apartment and you're working with a realtor, the landlord pays the commission. So there are no extra costs to you for using a real estate agent to find a place. And it's better when you use a realtor just because we're able to negotiate the best deal on your behalf and make sure that the landlord complies with all of the conditions in the contract.
That's good. A lot of people don't know that, so that's good information. When you are renting, what types of documents should a landlord be asking for legally? What kinds of documents would you be asking for as a real estate agent?
Well, as an agent, before I show any properties, I typically would need to see your 2 most recent pay stubs, also a job letter that details how long you've worked for the company and your salary or pay rate. And then they're also going to want to see your credit score with your full report. And that should be from TransUnion or Equifax.
Okay. And some people have concerns, and I think all people should have concerns, privacy rights, confidentiality reasons about their documents. Can they be sure that their documents are safe when they submit them?
Yeah. Well, you can't always be sure that your documents will be safe unless you are using a realtor. We have a fiduciary duty to our clients to make sure that their privacy is protected at all times. And that's another reason why I do suggest using an agent for these type of transactions.
Great way to protect yourself. So now you've gotten the lease signed. What's next?
What's next? So what a lot of people don't know is that once you've gotten your offer accepted from the landlord, that you have 24 hours to supply them with a deposit for first and last. They're also going to require you to have tenant's insurance for your contents, and there might be a key deposit involved. So you'd have to have maybe a little extra cash ready for that.
Sara, there's a lot going on in the real estate markets. We've seen interest rates go up. Some people have lost their job during the pandemics. There are concerns. They have concerns for different reasons. What would you say to the general public about this?
I would say that, yes, interest rates are concerning, but I wouldn't let that deter you from purchasing a property. What I'm seeing in the market right now is homes going for $200,000 to $300,000 less than they would have sold for earlier this year. And so as the rates may be high, a good way to offset those rates would be to get a multi-unit property with separate entrances. That way you can have the tenant pay a lot of the bills and maybe essentially one day live in your home for little to no cost. It's kind of like the stock market, the way things are. You buy stocks when they're low. You rarely ever see investors buying stocks when they're high. So I see when the prices are low in the housing market is a great time to purchase property.
Okay, so that should give some of the viewers some reassurance. And where do people reach you?
Well, you can reach me at 647-534-0701 or buyorsellwithsara@gmail.com.
Thank you, Sara, for being here today.
Thank you very much for interviewing me, and I really want to say shout out to DG Media for all of the hard work they're doing for our community.
Thank you.